Good evening. The City Council will convene on Thursday, November 9th, 2023, to hold a regular meeting at 7:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing any and all business via in-person and remote participation in accordance with Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws. Remote participation is allowed in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, signed into law by Governor Healy on March 29th, 2023, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, Massachusetts General Law, Section 30A-18. Alternative public access to this meeting shall be provided in the following manner. 1. The meeting will be televised via Peabody Access Television. 2. Real-time public comments during public hearing can be addressed to the Peabody City Council utilizing the Zoom virtual meeting software for remote access. This application will allow users to view the meeting and make a comment or question to the chair via the audio option. Please join me in a moment of silence. Now the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor Gould. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. We have no hearings scheduled for this evening, so we're moving on to reports of committees. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee of the City Council met earlier this evening. Present for the committee were Councilors Gamache, Gould, Manning, Martin, Turco, and myself as chair. Also present for the meeting were Councilors Peach, Daigle, O'Neill, and Melville. We had two items on the agenda. The first item was transfer of funds for capital equipment in an amount of $107,000 that was presented to us by Mr. Gingras, Director of Finance. And he explained that this was a request for a piece of equipment, a tractor for the narrow rows at Brooksby Farm. He also indicated that since this request came in, they got a revised quote that included a discount, which lowered the amount to $95,367. With that, there was a motion made by Councilor Gould as follows. Move to approve the transfer request, Brooksby Farm revolving, account number 260-00000035603, in an amount of $95,367 to capital equipment, account number 300-094-215-8-506-2024-0000006620, in an amount of $95,367. Mr. President, that motion passed the Finance Committee unanimously. I now bring it for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Councilor, you heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilors Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Manning Martin. Gould.
Yes.
Rossignol.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Welton.
Yes.
Motion carries 11-0.
Thank you, Mr. President. Second item on the agenda was transfer funds, CPC cemetery restoration, in an amount of $2,035. This was also brought to us by the Director of Finance, Mr. Gingras, who explained that this was an add-on project to the Emerson Cemetery project for an additional section of fencing. There were no real questions on it, but a comment by Councilor Manning Martin kind of reiterating the earlier praise that several councilors had for this project, with which I very much agreed. With that, there was a motion made by Councilor Gould as follows. Move to approve transfer of funds from account number 270-000033022 in an amount of account name CPC Historic Preservation, an amount of $2,035 to account number 270-1811585632024000505 CPC Cemetery Restoration, in an amount of $2,035. Mr. President, that motion passed unanimously in the Finance Committee, and I now bring it for consideration of the full council. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. Councilors, you heard the motion from Councilor McGinn. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilors Turco.
Yes.
Daigle.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Peach.
Yes.
Manning Martin.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Rozignol.
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Melville.
Yes.
McGinn.
Yes.
Welton.
Yes.
Motion carries 11 to 0.
Counselor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. And on that same item, again, as there's been quite a bit of positive feedback on these projects, there was a request by Councilor Gould that the council send a letter to the Historic Commission thanking them for their work on these projects, and the Clerk Danforth graciously agreed to do that, and that motion was made and passed unanimously, and I'll bring that for consideration of the full council.
Thank you, Counselor McGinn. Counselor, you heard the motion. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Counselor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, that concludes the report of committee.
Thank you, Counselor McGinn. Moving on to motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to receive item 8C on behalf of Councilor Welton from Jennifer Davis.
Counselor, you heard the motion. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Counselor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you want to respond back to Ms. Davis on that? I'm not sure if that was a question in her response, where she asked if it's 8 Holden or Holton. And I believe it is Holden Street. Currently, DPS is working on the sidewalk as the Forestry Department has completed the necessary work on the tree roots. I just reviewed and wanted to confirm the address. I think it's supposed to be 8 Holden Street, so it is 8 Holden, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
so-
Counselor Turco. Counselor Danforth did clarify that with Ms. Davis, so that's been taken care of.
Thank you very much. Motion to receive item 8E and approve. Motion to receive and approve.
Thank you, Counselor Turco. Just on that, on 8E, just as a point of clarification, I did speak with the building inspector and did confirm that it's just, it was a sale of the business, so there's no change in business operation there. I know that was something that you and I had discussed and some residents had reached out on behalf of, so just to clarify that. On the motion to receive and approve item 8E, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Counselor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to receive and adopt as advertised item 10A under suspension of the rules.
Thank you, Counselor Turco. Councilors, you heard the motion. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Counselor Turco.
Motion to have DPS install signage as written in the ordinance just approved in item 10A. If you could forward that ordinance to DPS.
Thank you, Counselor Turco. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed? It's a vote. Counselor Turco.
No further motions.
Thank you, Counselor Turco. Counselor Tagle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one motion to make, but I'm going to take a second to give a little background. It's about 15 King Street, Hemisphere Development. The council made a motion under emergency preamble back in the late spring to have the city inspect the property and issue fines if necessary. And since then, the city department heads, health, police, fire, and building have gone in there and have since taken 15 King Street, the owners, to court. And there's some progress that has been made, and finally the judge issued or the city came to an agreement in court in early October, seeing that the property has followed some of the requests with pest management, code violations. They're conducting weekly inspections. They have determined that the water in the basement is stormwater, so it's clean. But one thing that was supposed to happen with this court agreement that was dismissed was that they were supposed to pull a permit within 30 days to remove 3 oil tanks and 1 emergency electric generator within 30 days. That was October 3rd. That has not happened. So since it hasn't, the company has met with us about a year ago, and they had promised to do this, and once the winter came, they did not do it. I would like to make a motion to ask the city solicitor for his opinion on how to move forward, to ask Hemisphere Development to pull a permit and do this work, and what his opinion is on that, if that makes sense. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Daigle. Councilors on the motion and discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Daigle.
No further motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Daigle. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of rules, I'd move to receive and refer item 8A to Legal Affairs and to request an opinion from the city solicitor on whether we are following the required process for sale of city. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Councilors on the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of rules, move to receive item 8B and refer that to Legal Affairs and request opinions from the city solicitor as well as the community development regarding the proposed lot plan submitted. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. No further motions.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8H and set up a special permit hearing.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to add, this is kind of tricky for a handicap spot because there's no parking on this side of the street, so I'll work with the clerk to get the language correct in the ordinance. I'm looking to add the area across from 65 Endicott Street to section 1981 to the city code entitled handicap zone and request DPS put up a sign. To clarify, this is along the property line of 49 Warren Street, but on the Endicott Street side. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. Councilors on the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Peach.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to explain, there's been a lot of complaints and concerns about the traffic and public safety surrounding the car wash that opened on Central Street. The roads around there, a lot of them are one way or they're small. There's been drivers going up the wrong way. So I would like to refer this issue to the Municipal Safety Committee and request that the Peabody Police look into any issues that are on record in that area and present their opinion to the council of how to best move forward and make this a safer area to drive and live.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. Councilors, you heard the motion. On the motion, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Councilor Peach.
No further motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Peach. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8D and late communication 1 and refer to public safety with some background. As you know, we've been requesting information out of industrial and community development so that we can get a handle on our subsidized housing inventory figures. And in requesting, not only through the fire department at our last meeting, but throughout the process, looking for the number of beds in the group homes that we have in the city, which count to our SHI, it's becoming abundantly clear that we don't know exactly where these houses are. And I thank the fire chief for getting back to the council with the late communication indicating the addresses and number of beds in the areas of the city at locations where he is aware of. But as you know, in the first communication that he also sent us, which was 8D, he referred us to get more information or a more complete data on these addresses to community development. And as we all know, we've met with community development at public hearings 6 or 7 times, and it's been ascertained that community development does not have that information. So what I'd like to do is refer the matter to public safety because as someone who's been in public safety for 32 years, that's just something I think that we need to get a handle on. The addresses and the information is somewhere. We need to collect it, get it all together, and make sure that everybody has emergency access plans and procedures in place. In addition to getting the information for the original reason that we were looking for, it was for our SHI numbers. So, long-winded background, that is my motion, so moved.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. On the motion, any discussion? Councilor Gamache.
Yes, on the motion, we may try to find it from, the state regulates them. So the state should have those numbers and addresses. So I don't know who you'd contact at the state, but I'll defer to Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Councilor Gamache. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, and the state won't give that information either. That effort is being made as well. So for some reason, Councilor Gamache, it's coveted information and it's a mystery. So I want to put it in public safety so that we can shake that tree and figure it out and make sure everybody's safe in the city of Peabody. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Any other councilors on this? If I could just take a moment to speak to this as well. Councilor Manning Martin and Councilor Gamache, just as background, I believe the state regulations weren't shared by design when the legislation went through to create areas for group homes and for housing for people with intellectual disabilities and people with addiction issues because it was stigmatized within the community. I know that what we're looking for is from a public safety standpoint, so I applaud for what you're trying to do. I think going to the state, unfortunately, because that process has never been updated, it's not really going to get us that far. I might suggest also maybe including Sharon Cameron in the Department of Public Health as well, because I know what we're trying to get at here, and I think it's valuable information. So thank you for trying to get that. And I know for sure, just looking at this list, that's incomplete. Given my background, I know without question that's incomplete. So anybody else want to talk on this? But I appreciate that. All right, on the motion, any discussion, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, any opposed, it's a vote. Councilor Manning Martin.
No further motions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Manning Martin. Councilor Gould.
No motions, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilor Rosendahl.
Thank you, Mr. President. No motions, but I would just like to commend Clerk Danforth, her team, and all of the poll workers for a great job on Tuesday. I know the turnout wasn't as fantastic as I think we all would have liked. You and your staff did an amazing job coordinating everything, and I just wanted to commend you. With that, no motions, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Rosendahl. I think we all very much agree with that statement, so thank you for saying that. Councilor Gamache.
Yes, one motion this evening, I would request a street light to be placed at 8 Newton Road on pole number 4. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Gamache. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed, it's a vote.
No further motions.
Thank you, Councilor Gamache. Councilor Melville.
Thank you, Mr. President. Echoing the thanks to the staff from the Clerk's Department and all the people for the elections. Great job. But also, on Saturday, there's going to be a Veterans Day ceremony in front of the City Hall, beginning at 11 a.m. So just want to put that out to anybody. I know the mayor sent out an email to the elected officials, but also to the public. So that will be beginning at 11 a.m. in front of City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Melville. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8F and set up a public hearing. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed, it's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under suspension of the rules, move to receive item 8G and set up a public hearing. So moved.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. On the motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, any opposed, it's a vote. Councilor McGinn.
If there's nothing else,
Couple things, real quick.
all right, I have no further motions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor McGinn. As well, I just wanted to echo my appreciation for Allison, for the poll workers, and for all of the volunteers who held signs for people, and for all the candidates who ran as well. I appreciate living in such an incredible city where people are so active. I also wanted to just send a quick shout out and a thank you to the Mayor's Office, the Department of Public Services, Forestry, the Water Department, Peabody Police, and resident Ted Neary for taking a tour of the South Peabody Bike Trail and a number of issues that we've had there recently. I'm happy to report that Department of Public Services has already worked on reinstalling the bollards that were missing, so appreciate that. And then the last thing I wanted to recognize Ward 1 resident Craig Childress, who was recently awarded the top plumber and HVAC technician in the country. There was actually a nationwide competition, and Peabody's own is the best plumber. So I'm sure if you have any plumbing and HVAC issues, he's in hot demand, but wanted to send that out to Craig Childress. Big congratulations. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you. We are adjourned.